Should I do a video wearing my glasses or not? I'm gonna wear glasses, deal with it. Hi folks, Harry here, and welcome back to Other Worlds Than These. So, today's video is a video that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time, and that is top 5 books that I think everyone should read. So these books, I should probably say, are not my favourite books of all time. They are just books that I think that every single human being in the world should read at some point in their life. So I have tried to vary the different genres and categories that these books may fall into, just so there's a little bit for everyone, and it's sort of encompassing everything I like about books. So I'm just going to get into it. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is the one horror novel on this list. And I think that every single person should read this book, whether or not you like horror, because it is just truly a masterpiece. And that's The Shining by Stephen King. This is my third favourite Stephen King book. Damn, I really need to update my top 10 Stephen King books video, don't I? This is my third favourite Stephen King book of all time, and it follows a man named Jack Torrance, his wife Wendy, and his son Danny. He gets the job of a caretaker, and he is looking after the Overlook Hotel during the winter. And while he's in this hotel, he gets a serious case of cabin fever and slowly begins to lose his mind. I think that this is a brilliant display of Stephen King's genius and how easy he makes it look to describe someone's descent into madness, and that's just what makes this an absolute masterpiece. Stephen King's character work is very unique. I find that with lots of young adult books and fantasies and contemporaries and that sort of thing, the characters are extremely lovable and you can fall in love with them, you can want to be them, you can want to marry them. Stephen King's characters are a lot different. Stephen King's characters aren't the kind that are like lovable, that you want to be in your life. They're the sort of characters that you get a deep emotional connection to, but you're not in love with them like one may be in love with a certain Jace Herondale. You really feel for his characters, you understand them. When Jack is going through this descent into madness, you really understand him and you feel for him. It's just a chaotic masterpiece, and this is a book that I think that everyone should read because it's a masterpiece. So the next book that I think you should read is probably one that you've read. Like, my audience is sort of like younger, well, my intended audience is like younger people, because my goal of the channel is to push younger people to reading, because I believe the teachers have ruined reading and made it seem like a chore, and I want it to seem more like a hobby. So that is my goal with this channel, and I've just shown the book. It's The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. So this is an excellent YA dystopian novel. The entire trilogy is really good, actually. I binge read this entire trilogy in one day, so I will link that up here if you want to watch that. In this little card up here, that is my readathon where I binged this entire trilogy in one day. It was a great experience, but I'm not suggesting that you do that because I was so exhausted by the end of it. How do I even begin to describe The Hunger Games? This book, in case you've been living under a rock and you don't know what The Hunger Games is about, let me fill you in. So this book is about an annual event called The Hunger Games, which is controlled by the capital, which is a really rich city filled with rich people. It is an event where children between the ages of, I believe, 12 to 18 randomly get called from 12 different districts, one boy and one girl from each district. There's 24 tributes, and they are all called into this arena to fight to the death to kill each other. And it's focusing on our main character, Katniss Everdeen, from District 12, one of the really poor districts, and oh my god, this is one of my favourite YA novels. It's probably my favourite dystopian, well, one of my favourite dystopians, because right now I'm reading 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami, and that is just chef's kiss. But YA dystopian, this is probably my favourite. It doesn't get much better than The Hunger Games, you guys. So not only does this have fantastic writing, incredible characters that you can fall in love with, it also just helps evolve the YA genre. The next book on this list is another one that I think basically formed the YA genre, but this one just helped make it better. I don't think that the YA... Well, I don't like calling YA a genre, it's more of like a collection of genres. I think that the YA dystopian genre would be nowhere without The Hunger Games. And I also think that YA in general would not be the same without The Hunger Games. It's just got so many things about it that are just perfect. So this book does have a few tropes, but if you can look past maybe the love triangle, I think that's the most iconic love triangle in literature, maybe. Just read this trilogy. It's truly a masterpiece. It's quite dark when you think about it, like really, really dark, but just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Just read it. If you haven't already, I'll be very surprised if you haven't. Okay, so the next one, I can already hear you typing your hate comments, but this book is probably the most hated book in the world among younger readers, and it's Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. Hear me out before you go in my comments and start writing about me being cringy or whatever, like all of your hate comments. Stop right now, just pause what you're doing and let me explain myself. So Twilight is basically in the book world considered one of the worst books of all time. It's incredibly cringy, relies on a lot of tropes, but hear me out and I will tell you why I love this and why I think everyone should read it. Again, just like the Hunger Games, in case you've been living under a rock and you don't know what Twilight's about, let me tell you. So it's about a girl called Bella Swan who moves to the town of Forks in Washington, which is a very gloomy town, and she's not very interested, but she meets this boy called Edward Cullen, who is just perfect. He's really attractive and she is just kind of drawn to him. Then she finds out that he's literally a vampire. I'm sure that's not a surprise, you probably know what this is about. People hate this because it has incredibly bad writing. I'm not the first to admit this, the writing in this book is downright terrible. It's really bad writing. But I think that even critical readers can still like this book, because if you put aside the bad writing, this book is so bloody entertaining. I love Twilight, but not because of the writing. I think the writing's terrible. But it's just so entertaining to read about. It's so fun to read about all of these characters. It's fun to choose whether or not you're Team Edward or Team Jacob. Team Edward. I am a proud member of Team Edward. You can just get so engrossed in the story. Is that a word? Editing Harry will pop up in a moment to tell you if that's a word. It's not high quality literature. There's no doubt about that. This is not good literature. But I think that just like the Hunger Games, even more so than the Hunger Games, this book evolved YA. And YA would be nowhere had Twilight not existed. So without Twilight, YA would not have nearly the same amount of success as it already does. I just think that everyone should read this because it is an entertaining paranormal romance. Yes, it's super cringe. Yes, it's really cliche. Yes, it's terrible writing. But just look past that and read it for the entertainment, because this book is a great time. Like, it's just such a good experience reading this book. It's got a real, feel-good vibe about it. It's so cheesy, but it's so good. So the fourth book on this list has been in the frame the whole time, and it is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. My books are all falling over now. Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli is a contemporary novel about a closeted gay teen called Simon. No one knows that he is gay, and he is sending emails to someone codenamed Blue. He doesn't know who it is, but he falls in love with Blue online, even though he has absolutely no idea who he is. But one day, his emails get into the wrong hands, and another student who goes to his high school essentially blackmails him and threatens to tell the entire school that he is gay and out him. So this just perfectly shows the experience of being a gay teenager, and I think it's really, really good representation. The story is so heartfelt. All of the characters are amazing, except for maybe a few. It's so relatable if you have experienced this sort of thing. And it's just fantastic. It's just so heartwarming, and I think that everyone should read it, because I think, this is my favourite YA novel of all time. This is my favourite contemporary novel of all time. Another one that I was tempted to put on this list is The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. I don't own a physical copy of that book because I got it from the library, but oh my god, that is good. Do some research into that book if you want to figure out more about it. Basically, it's just about another closeted gay teen called Michael who is mixed race, and it's just following his adventure from young childhood to his time at university. It's really, really good. You should check it out. But we're talking about Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda here. You know when you love a book so much that when you try to describe it, you just can't get out the words. That is exactly how I feel about this book. I use the word masterpiece a lot when I'm describing books, but this is just... This is a modern classic. Come on. This is by far my favourite LGBTQ novel, and I've read my fair share. Call Me By Your Name is a very close second. Well, maybe close third, actually. But, so the last book that I think everyone should read was my favourite book for a very long time, and it is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. So this book is set in World War II in Nazi Germany, and it is about a girl called Liesel Memminger who is a book nerd. At the beginning of the novel, she doesn't know how to read, but she is adopted by two people, a really, really nice man and a bit of a bitchy woman. She learns to read and she is obsessed with books. She steals books, hence the name The Book Thief, and it's so heartbreaking. I've read this book twice, cried both times, and I just enjoy this book so much. So I love this book primarily because of the characters. Liesel, the main character, is so relatable, wanting to steal books. You have no idea how many times I wanted to steal books. As you can see, I love books, so I can relate to her. Also, Rudy Steiner, her love interest in this book, is so funny. Oh, he's just lovely. And Liesel and Rudy are, I just love them together. The language used in this book is very, very funny. I laughed on multiple occasions reading this book because they use like German slang words mixed in with their English. So they use words like Saumensch, Saukerl, Arschloch. Like they just slip these words into their English vocabulary, and all of those are like very mild German slurs because this is directed towards like young adults, I'd say. It's YA historical fiction. So the language is very mild, but I just find it so funny. So as well as funny, this book is heartbreaking. I just think that everyone on the planet should read this book because it's got amazing character work, amazing plot, it's beautiful writing. Markus Zusak's style of writing is just amazing. And this book just gives off an energy that I can't describe. This is one of those books where you feel like you are in the story. It's that immersive. And that's something that I really, really like about books, is they just take you into other worlds than these. Thank you for the applause. This is another one of those books where I can't describe how much I love it. It's just great, and you should read it. I'm not a very critical reader. That's probably why these books don't have very good descriptions of why I think you should read them. I'm just saying, read them. I am not a critical reader. I read purely for enjoyment, so that's probably why these descriptions are not that great. Just read this book. I promise you will love it. Okay, so that is it for the books that I think that everyone in the entire world should read at some point in their life. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big fat thumbs up. Comment below if you want to see more videos like these, because I really enjoy making them. Subscribe to my channel for more bookish videos and turn on the notification bell to get notified every single time I upload a new video. My Goodreads link is in the description below, as is my Instagram. I hope you had a great day, hope tomorrow's even better, and I will see you for another video. Goodbye.